Welcome to Tech It Up with Jessica Lee. I'm here with the VP of Marketing Mid-Market from SAP, Jaana Linsenmayer. Jaana, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Jessica.
I would love to hear more about your role as SAP, and I know you're kind of new, but you have a very experienced background from IT to marketing in big enterprises targeting the SMB market. Share with us, what is this new responsibility you're doing at SAP?
Yeah, well, it's exciting times at SAP. We're doing lots of acquisitions, as I'm sure plenty of people have been hearing in the news, but my focus is on the mid-sized business space. And so really focusing on those businesses that are bringing in under $1 billion in revenue. So as you can imagine, that's a bulk. That's a bulk of the companies out there. SAP has done a fantastic job of providing solutions in the large enterprise space. And we also have a ton of customers in the mid-sized business space as well. And so that's really what I'm here is to help provide those solutions to the mid-sized base, make sure that they understand that we have solutions for them. I think that's a common misconception is that we're just for the big guys, and that's certainly not the case. Although some may say 1 billion is big. It is big, don't get me wrong, but but we're not just for the big, Fortune 500 companies.
Yes, and you cover like 4 portfolios, right? You got HR, customer experience, you've got core, ERP, and then the analytics. So that's a lot of products and a pretty wide customer base to tap.
It really is, and we're even looking at, segmenting the smaller, I say smaller, but, companies of, 100 to 300 million versus the ones that are closer to $1 billion, because obviously their needs are different. But the one need we see consistent is they're growing, right? A lot of the businesses in that segment are growing, they're growing fast, they're dealing with the pains that growing companies deal with, which is very different than the pains of a mature company. Okay,
so let's talk about your background, because I know you have the expertise to address this challenge.
I'd like to think so, yeah. Yeah, so
let's hear it.
Is this the resume portion? Yeah, so I actually started my career out in IT, and I spent a big portion of my career in IT on the tech side, and then slowly worked my way over to the customer side. Because to be honest with you, user experience was my passion, and design was my passion. And so I did go back and get a graduate degree from the University of Washington in human-centered design and engineering. And when I was recruited to Microsoft, 2006, that's when I started to get into the marketing side and the advertising side. And so I found that my experience in user-centered design and my passion for it actually was very relevant in marketing, because so much of what we do is, let me rephrase that. I would say all of what we do should be aimed at resonating with people. How do we touch and capture hearts and minds when you're talking about complex topics like enterprise resource planning? So it's a hard nut to crack, but it's one that I'm very interested in, and certainly we had this challenge at Microsoft when I was there, and I worked for Microsoft for about 9 or 10 years, and a portion of that time I focused on SMB marketing, and I led the North America SMB marketing team. And then also a lot of times when you're dealing with this mid-sized business space, you are working through a channel, and so I had the opportunity to work with a lot of partners. Working with partners to reach that same audience, and that is exactly what I'm doing at SAP as well. We have a fantastic partner channel.
So what's your favorite marketing tactical strategy to actually acquire new customers in the SMB market?
one of the ones that I have found to be effective, and I haven't implemented it yet at SAP. I'm working on it. As you can imagine, being in a larger company, things don't move as quickly as they do in smaller companies. But the last company I came from, which was a Microsoft and Salesforce partner, I think we did find a really successful motion, which is a couple things. One was working closely with the sales team to find out what topics were resonating. So often we spend our time with product people and we think about what do we want to promote from a product perspective. I have found that to not necessarily be effective, but when you start to talk with the sales team, you'll learn the words that they're hearing on the phone or when they go meet with customers, and you'll learn the actual pain points. And so one of the things I found to be effective is working with them on the hot topics, right? Running webinars, because webinars are easy to run and they're inexpensive to run. And after the webinar is over, you then have an asset that you can continue to drive, assuming you're capturing the recording. You have an asset that you can continue to promote and drive people to. So I'm a big fan of webinars. I'm a fan of working with sales to figure out what are the right topics for webinars, and then getting someone on the webinar who can be very captivating. I think we've all been on webinars before where you just start multitasking because it's getting boring and it's hard to stay engaged. And I think that's a tricky one to address, but that's my favorite.
Okay, so let's talk about diversity and inclusion. I think you've been in tech for a long time. And I think there's definitely progress. Even though today is like toward the end of Women's History Month, I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, you're right. A lot has changed. I love where it's changed, and I love seeing the millennials come into the workplace, and I feel like they are so much more advanced when it comes to diversity than folks that have been, like myself, where I don't sometimes question things anymore because it's been such a standard. And I feel like there's this revitalization of conversations and topics. And when I first went into tech, and I'll tell you a quick story, I was in my undergrad and I was getting a business degree, and it was 1999. And I thought, this tech thing seems really popular. Maybe I should go into it, and maybe that's a great opportunity to make money. So I remember talking to my advisor, and I told him, I said, I'm thinking about majoring in management information systems, which at the time it wasn't computer science, but it was like the IT degree.
Yep.
And he discouraged me from doing that. And he asked if I'd ever considered apparel merchandising, or I think the other one he suggested was interior design. So both great fields to go into, but I was interested in tech. And I think about that experience I had, and I don't know why he suggested those. I don't know, maybe it was my sense of style. I don't know. But I look back on it and I think that's the reason why we didn't see a lot of women going into tech in the late 90s and early 2000s. And then once you do, and once I did, and I said, well, thanks for the advice, I'm going to go into tech. And I did that. But I gotta admit, I mean, I wasn't that bold and strong at the moment. I thought, maybe he's right. Like maybe that is where I should be going, because when I looked at who was in the information systems classes, they didn't look like me. There were very few women. And then I started to think, that's maybe just not where I belong. And so, to be honest with you, I did not major in information systems. I finished my degree in business management, but when I graduated, just through a friend, I decided to apply for a software testing position. And, you know, sure enough, when I showed up, there were a lot of men in the organization, but I was lucky because we had some awesome female leaders there. And so it was the first time I started to look at that and say, oh, okay, maybe this is a pathway for me, because I'm starting to see people that I can relate to. So, but I can certainly say it wasn't part of the narrative. No one talked about diversity. No one talked about gender diversity. No one talked about the value of getting more women into tech. And I absolutely love that that's part of the conversation right now. And, you know, I have children, and I can see it in the schools, you know, Girls Who Code, Digi Girls, like there's so many organizations to get girls into tech. And I'm so thankful for it. It's no better time to be a girl, I can tell you.
I agree with you on that. And how is the culture and the environment at SAP?
I love it. I love it. And I don't know, maybe it's because I'm still relatively new and I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, but I will say the company has done amazing things to address and grow diversity. First off, they talk about it. I mean, I think some companies get very uncomfortable, and especially some senior leaders get very uncomfortable talking about this topic. And, you know, I understand there's been a lot in the news around senior leaders who have maybe said the wrong thing and been criticized for it. But I love that at SAP, it's not a taboo topic. People are open about it. They have set some pretty aggressive goals around diversity, and not just gender diversity, you know, all different age diversity,
race.
Yeah, race. I'm just kind of going through them all. Any kind of diversity, right? And that they're really looking at it all over the board. I mean, we even have an organization called Autism at SAP, where we are hiring, you know, we do target folks that with autism and bring them in and actually have a program where they can connect with other people who are autistic in the company. And so there's just a lot of discussion around diversity. And from a gender diversity perspective, in 2017, the board actually made some initiatives around it and decided that this was going to be a priority for the company. So we currently have 25% women in management, but the goal is to get to 30% by 2022. Now, I'd love to see 50%, but this is tech, and this is kind of it's a struggle, right? And I think part of the struggle is we need more women in the pipeline. We need more women in the tech programs in college. We need more women going into tech jobs. And so I think as this pipeline grows, it will become easier to hit. But 30% by 2022 is definitely a standard within the industry, and I look forward to us meeting it and exceeding it.
Yeah, and that's why I actually am so glad I have this platform to give more women leaders the visibility, because generation of girls do need the role models, and having speakers like yourself being promoted through social media as a tech leader is a way to help address that gender imbalance in the leadership level.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And one of the things I do like about SAP is they're also kind of changing the narrative. It's not a matter of just achieving a number of women, right? And so part of the narrative that I'm hearing at SAP is around how do we support men and women in taking care of family activities and household responsibilities. And so there's a strong tone around balance. And I know some people, I feel like balance is a little bit of a polarizing word because it means different things to different people. But the idea is that every employee, doesn't matter what your gender is, or your race, your ethnicity, anything, we all have accountabilities outside of work. And we all need to practice self-care. And so the idea is how do we make that all part of the narrative? So if a dad wants to leave work at 3:30 to attend a soccer game of his kids, he does not feel guilty or being like he's being penalized because he does that. Somebody may have a religious holiday that's not one of the ones that's given off. They're not going to feel like they can't do those things that are those priorities that are outside of work. They will feel like they're supported. And so I like that is the narrative, because I feel like that is probably even more important than hitting numbers, is creating an environment where people can take care of their needs outside of work. And when you do that, everyone will flourish.
Yes, I agree with you. I think that I did see the SAP CEO talk about that. And I think that's very smart, because taking care of the whole person is taking care of your business outcome in the end.
Yes. Yeah, and unfortunately, since women still carry a lot of the household responsibilities, it seems to be a narrative just around women. And I think that we might be a disservice, because it's not just a women's topic. It's a human topic, right? We all have accountabilities outside of work, and we all need time to prioritize them.
Yes, we still have a lot to do, more progress to be made, definitely, in areas. So yeah, but it's been a great conversation with so many tech leaders this month about diversity and inclusion. I appreciate you coming on, Jaana, and sharing your thoughts on this. And looking forward to actually meeting you, and hopefully at the Sapphire event. You want to talk about Sapphire for a little bit?
I would love to talk about Sapphire. I feel like Sapphire is all I think about right now. So Sapphire is our customer conference that we have in Orlando, Florida, May 5th. I think it's May 5th through May 9th. And it is an amazing experience for companies to network with other companies dealing with some of the same challenges, dig into any sort of issues and challenges they're having within a particular line of business, industries. We have tons of opportunity to connect with other peers in your industry and learn about what's the latest technological advances as specific to your needs. There's so much coming out, there's just so much innovation. These types of conferences and Sapphire is absolutely essential to really staying ahead of digital disruption. I think that is something everyone is concerned about right now, and as they should be. Stuff is changing so quickly, you need to stay ahead of it. And this is a great conference for that. There's also just a lot of fun, a lot of networking, dinners, concerts. It's a great event. And if you, for our partners too, so I mentioned, I think it might have been before the interview started, we do have a large partner channel, and it is a priority. We are a channel-led business in the mid-sized business space. And there is a whole separate day just for our partners too. We have our Global Partner Summit. And so customers are coming from all over the world. I think I heard, so this is my first Sapphire because I'm 6 months into the company. I think I've heard we have about 20 to 25,000 people attend. So it's a fantastic event.
Okay, well, wonderful. Looking forward to hearing more about SAP, the Sapphire event, and hope to see you there in person, Jaana.
Absolutely, Jessica. It'd be great to connect.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining the conversation, and thanks to everyone for watching us. Take it up with Jessica Lee. Connect with me on LinkedIn and follow to see more conversations with tech leaders.